Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Elm Creek Farm. This is episode number 32, and we are on our trusted mount here, Summer. And no, I've not decided to get into the horse business per se, as far as raising horses, but to sort of add some additional, I suppose, role play to this wonderful map and what we're doing with Elm Creek Farms and Elm Creek B&B. We have added horses as an option for our guests of the B&B to go out on trail rides and that sort of stuff. And so we have installed a very small horse pen just over here beside the B&B, just down from our main house. And again, with the whole idea that this will be something that the guests of the B&B will be able to utilize here on our open land. They can go and do trail rides. We'll have organized trail rides. Bo is actually quite the equestrian himself, and he will be organizing and leading these trail rides, and we will have hay rides and all sorts of things. And that's just kind of what we're adding to our storyline here on Elm Creek Farms and Elm Creek Farms B&B. I believe I already said this is episode number 32. If I did not say that, then my apologies. I do believe it is episode number 32. And like I said, we've got our little horse paddock in here, fit nicely right in this small area. And let me go ahead and put Summer away, and we will get back into our normal style of gameplay here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for that. And let's just go ahead and get in our John Deere Gator, and we're going to head down to the main farmyard. And I'm going to go over a few changes that we have made to the farm, to the operation. And that will probably go a long ways to explaining kind of why we are down to just about 58,000, a little over $58,000 in the bank account. That is cash. We still have no bank loans. We've managed to do everything that we've wanted to do without bank loans. Now, we'll see what happens when we actually start the work of planting for this next season. I'm sure that before we even get the opportunity to drop a seeder in the ground, of course, I've got some labor, we'll have some fuel costs and stuff, but I'm sure that before we get to that point, we will have had the opportunity to sell more produce and such. And so we're going to try to prevent from having to get a loan, but if we need to, then that's what we obviously have that option available to us. We'll just head over here, and again, we'll just explain this. I will go ahead and say at the top of the show that this is probably going to be a relatively short episode. I know that I think in the previous episode I kind of explained that I was going to be dropping the number of episodes down per week a little bit. I will be honest and say that I didn't mean for it to necessarily drop to two. I think 2 weeks in a row, maybe even it will be 3 weeks in a row where you're only getting two episodes that week. Just got a lot of stuff going on that I'm trying to get done, DIY stuff around the house. And you know, the old saying, and I've said this many times before, a happy wife is a happy life. And we've got to do those things, us husbands, especially. I consider myself a house husband because I am retired, and retired quite early in life, but my wife has yet to retire. And so I do pretty much all of the chores around the house, including the cooking, the cleaning, the running of errands, any organization kind of stuff. I'm doing that so that she doesn't have to mess with it, and we can enjoy our weekends and such together. And that has worked out quite well since I decided to retire last year. All right, so we have put in a hay dryer, or I should say a grass dryer. This apparatus is Stevie's mod, and I've got this on my mod spreadsheet. If you go to grizzlybearsims.com and click on information, you will get directed to my mods and add-on spreadsheet that I keep track of all of the simulation-based games that I play, including Flight Sim, Farm Sim, Truck Sim, etc. Just find the Farm Sim 22 tab and scroll down and look for this, and you can find a link to his Facebook page and find that there. So what this is going to do This essentially allowed us the ability to sell our tedder. We also sold our rake because in addition to picking this guy up here on the farm, and this, I try to do things as realistic as possible, and I do know that there are grass dryers. I don't know if they look identical to this. I know that we've had the conversation before about the silage silos, the fermentation silos like that, and I know those exist in the real world. As far as something that looks like that, I don't know for sure, but I do know the concept does. And so we're going to go with that, and that's going to save us a little bit of time in our processes and everything. The other thing is that we hired in a company to come in, and again, because we did this many episodes ago, we did this before the 1.2 update. We had them clear out the trees in this area. There was a big tree back there behind the shed near where the silo is, and of course, we had a tree right there in the middle, I think, and we had them come in, clear those out, and then we had a rock company come in and do some paving, just so that we don't have to worry about getting our vehicles stuck in inclement weather, and that has worked out quite well. All right, the last little improvement, I should say, that we've done here to the farm and to our equipment and such is we have purchased this mower. I'm not sure. Let me go ahead and park this over here, because if I don't park if I don't park my gator or my pickup or whatever I'm driving in the right place, it ends up getting in the way, and I end up having to move it. But it shouldn't get in the way there. But I picked up this mower unit. Now, this was a fairly expensive piece of kit. One piece was on sale, and the other one was not, and so we got this. And what this will do is this functions very similar to the Crone Big M, where it will leave a swath. It will drop a swath behind us. So we were able to get rid of not only the tedder, because we don't need to dry the grass in the field. We're going to dry the grass in the silo, and we were able to get rid of the rake because we don't need to rake the grass, because we're not going to do wide spreading. We're going to drop a swath, we're going to pick it up, we're going to put it in the silo to dry it, and that's going to be our process going forward, at least on this map. Um, and I think that that is the last of the money that we spent, the upgrades that we spent. I don't see anything else that I've purchased. It's all come out of our bank account, and we're trying to do this as realistic as possible. And of course, we are having fun while we're spending money and making changes and enhancements and such on the farm, and just kind of keeping things fresh, keeping things fresh. All right, so we're going to throw some lime in here, and of course that's going to take our money down just a little bit, but that's okay. We're just going to keep an eye on our money situation and make sure that if we do need to inject a loan, that we will do that. Um, in addition to purchasing the new fields, that we're actually going down to one of them now because we need to spread lime, we have sold most of our crops that we harvested last year. There were corn and wheat. We did go ahead and drop our level of wheat down to just a couple of thousand liters in the silo, just enough that we need for our chickens, and everything else we sold. And again, that was just to fund everything that we've done, fund the horses, the horse paddock, um, and just for the storyline purposes of that. But we will raise them correctly. We will feed them and water them, and try to love them as much as possible. But that's just part of the storyline for you all. And of course the mower and the silo and the rock spreading and all that kind of stuff. We have paid for all of that as we have sold our crops and sold produce out of the greenhouses and so on and so forth. All right, so I forget now which of these two fields needs lime, so we will check that once we get there. And I've also spent some time off camera setting up my auto drive routes for these fields. And I know it's a bit premature because we are nowhere near ready to harvest these fields because, well, we're still prepping them to plant. We haven't even put seeds in the ground yet. But I wanted to get the auto drive routes set up so that we can do some different things like I'll drive the combine and we'll have the tractor and the auger wagon because we've never used the auger wagon. I almost sold it, but I decided to go ahead and keep it and use it for the remainder of the series, at least for these fields here. So let's see which of these two fields needs lime. Maybe both of them. Nope, this one does not, and this one is 100% fertilized, and this one over here is 0% fertilized. Okay, so another thing that I have decided to do as I pressed the wrong button there is that we had made the decision to go with natural fertilization as organic as possible on the main farm. We did that last season, and we worked basically by putting in oilseed radish on many of the fields and getting that set up. And but for these two fields down here, now one of them is 100% fertilized, so we don't have to worry about that this particular season. But the other one, because the other one is not 100% fertilized. This one that we're going to put the lime on, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that twice. Um, we are going to use natural, regular chemical fertilizer for that. And the reason why is because I'm not going to have enough slurry to be able to do natural fertilization on both of these fields, all of these fields, I should say. Let's go ahead and scoot our line over just a little bit, and then we will like that, and then we'll just do this. We'll drive around and grab the path again. But I'm not going to have enough slurry to do these fields over here, at least not this year. Um, and so these crops are kind of going to be treated a little bit differently anyway. And so as I fiddle around here and trying to get our path going, which I've just now figured that out, I was hitting the wrong button. Here we go. All right, so we're not going to worry about natural fertilizer over here or trying to grow organic over on this side of the road. And I'm not sure yet what we're going to put here. It's either going to be a sorghum or it's going to be soybeans or something like that. And of course, can't plant canola. Canola's already, the planting season for that is already done. And of course, so is wheat. So it will either be like a sorghum, it could be sunflowers, it could be soybeans. So we're just going to check and see with the buyers and see what they need the most of and how we can basically help them achieve those things, and that's what we will grow over here. Now we will silo it and wait for, obviously the best price to sell, and of course that has been our plan and process coming out all along, and that's the reason why in December and in early January we did sell those items that were highest on the list, if you will, and hopefully we won't get hit by a train as I ease up here and go ahead and do that, and then we'll back up and we'll put a headland in here and then do our up and downs. But hopefully the information that's in the game is correct as far as best prices and best prices when to sell. I have seen some other information on the web. There is a new website that's kind of dedicated to all things Farm Sim 22 crop related selling and field yields and stuff on some of the base default maps, and so that's what I've been working with and going off of. There goes the train. So we had plenty of time, and then we'll just do another headland down here so that we can have a little bit more space to turn and not have to worry about getting hit by the train, because that would just really wreck my day. I think literally wreck my day. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. If I haven't said, or if I have said that already, I do apologize. It is in the real world. Oh, I don't know what day it is. It's Tuesday, something or another. I think you guys are going to see this episode next week. And like I said, I didn't necessarily mean to cut the schedule down this deep, but it's just been the way it has been, and it will be this way at least for another week, because I'm, like I said, DIY, keeping the wife happy, doing some things around, and I'm kind of buying my time on this map, if you will, a little bit, because as I had kind of had the conversation in the previous episode about the other maps that are available now versus those that are coming down the pipeline. Nothing right now really that's available now really takes my fancy. Oh, there was one that I kind of had a storyline idea with, and I may or may not fire that thing up and do a few episodes. Um, but right now, it's just going to kind of stay in its box, and because it does still have a few issues, and I've trying to stick to my guns and my process, and that is if a map has errors and if it has issues, I'm not going to play it because it's not worth my time in doing so. But I discussed all of that last time and not going to go back into it again this time. But we will just continue to do what we're doing here until something different comes along. And don't hit that sign, Jerry. Let's not give extra work for the county if we can prevent that, because those guys are busy enough as it is. Now, the last time that we were together, funnily enough, speaking of the county and all the things that they have to do, it was snowing the last time that we were together. We had snow on the ground, and I had manipulated that snow just a little bit, spent some off camera time doing it because I wasn't sure, because I had never experienced snow accumulation in Farm Sim 22 up to that point. Okay, so we had gone through our first year, if you will, and had a little bit of snow flurry mixed in with some rain, but nothing accumulated on the ground. Went through summer, came back around through winter, and then obviously we had our snow in the previous episode. So I did spend a little bit of time, probably a little more than I'm proud to admit, because what I'm going to say next, it kind of proved that it was not worth my time to do all that. But I spent the time necessary to move the snow around, to get it where, if the snow stayed on the ground for more than, one game day, 2 game days, whatever the case might be, because again, hearing horror stories about from other people before the patch on how snow functioned, I kind of thought, well, heck, we may have snow on the ground until June. Well, much to my surprise, the snow was essentially gone the very next game day. When I slept and went into the next game day, the snow was gone. The piles of snow were gone, and there was essentially no trace of snow whatsoever on the map. And I think I've progressed one game day further. I think that was in December that we had the snow that we were last together for episode number 31, and here we are in episode 32, the magic of math and numbers, because 32 comes after 31. We don't have any traces of snow in the ground, and that to me is a good thing. However, it was a bit of a waste of effort on my part, because I could have just left the snow exactly where it was, not worried about it, and not had a problem with it. But that's okay. We live, we learn, and that is good that Giants obviously fixed the problems with snow and the way that it would accumulate on the fields, and there's no need for snow to still be laying on the field when you are well into a calendar month that you ordinarily would not have that. I mean, even here in Denver, and of course I've said this before, that we are extremely low on snow accumulation, snowfall for this particular year. But when we have had, say, for example, a late spring blizzard, like a mid to later March blizzard, where we've received 3 feet of snow, yeah, there's still piles of snow. Funny story. Here a number of years ago, I believe it was in 2003. I know. Yes, 2003. It was a blizzard of 2003. And I'm starting to get old enough when I say things like that. I sound like an old timer. I should be sitting on a park bench with a pocket knife and a little piece of wood, whittling and telling all the younger whippersnappers about the blizzard of 2003. But anyway, in the blizzard of 2003. We got 3 feet of snow in something like 36, 48 hours, something like that, and it really shut down the city. And for rightfully so, because that was just a lot of snow to deal with. Well, the city and county of Denver, which is the city and county that I live in proper, in their infinite wisdom, they not only did they plow the streets, but they realized that they couldn't just plow the streets as they normally would do if we had a 3, 4, 5, 6 inch, even 12 feet of snow on the ground. They literally had to come in some locations and pick snow up with front loaders. They had wheel loader, front loader type equipment that they brought in, and physically load the snow into dump trucks, and then haul the snow and place it in different areas, different empty fields, and we have some low-lying floodplain kind of protection areas that they dump the snow in. Well, the snow downtown in downtown Denver proper, where all the big buildings and everything are, in their infinite wisdom, the city and county of Denver moved that snow and they placed it in the middle of Coors Field. Now, this was Coors Field is where the Colorado Rockies, the Major League Baseball team, plays. For those of you that know that, you would recognize that team name and everything. But for those that don't, that is where the Colorado Rockies play. We're going to head back to the main farm and get some more lime. Um, and so they piled that snow. They drove the semis, the dump trucks, and everything into Coors Field and dumped that snow in the middle of the field because it was mid-March and baseball season doesn't really get fired up until late April or even May timeframe. And I'm not a huge baseball fan, so my apologies if I'm a little late when I say May timeframe. Possibly it's April that opening day and everything is. Anyway, they thought the snow would be gone, and they ended up. Long story short, a very long story short, and a lot of people will be like saying, "I don't care about sports," but anyway, it's kind of funny. They ended up having to move the snow again because it was about a week or so away from baseball, the start of baseball season, from opening day, and they had to move the snow again. So they had to go back in there with the loaders, and they had to load up a lot of the snow because it just didn't melt. Because anytime you pile snow up like that deep, and literally there were piles of snow, like in parking lots, for example, grocery store parking lots. They had just pushed snow to one edge of the parking lot, and there was still snow, piles of snow, remnants, evidence of snow there until you know mid-May, something like that. Even though our daytime highs had warmed up into the 60s or whatever. Anyway, you all know about the physics of frozen water and all that stuff. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep you any longer and make you listen to my stories about weather and all of that stuff any longer. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of this Lime application off field, off camera, and not off field, off camera. We're going to do that off camera, and then when we come back for episode number, I think that will be episode 33. And it is still hard for me to believe that we've gotten 32, at least 32 episodes out of a base game map, but we have, and it's been a lot of fun. But when we do come back for episode 33, we will most likely be into February at some point, maybe mid-February, because I want to start doing a little bit of field work, um, doing some opening the fields up, getting some seeds in the ground, whatever that we can plant. Now, some of these fields here along the base farm area, we did not get oilseed radish planted in them because it was too late once we harvested and opened. We extended a field and all that kind of stuff. By the time we got the rocks off of it, and I may have not been paying attention, to the planting schedule, and we missed the opportunity to plant oilseed radish. Um, and so I think oilseed radish can be planted in November, but it can't be planted in December, January, and February. So I think March will be that. We will most likely go ahead and put oilseed radish down on the fields at the main farm, because those will probably be fields that will be reserved for soybean, and those will obviously come a bit later, and we'll get the benefit even though it will only be on the field for a short time, and it won't necessarily serve as the cover crop to protect soil erosion and that kind of stuff. It will give us the benefit of being able to say that we're as organic as possible, and we can just kind of go from there. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and thank you for understanding about my schedule. That is much appreciated, and I hope that you all will take good care of yourself and also of each other. And it's really hard to believe that half of January is already gone, and it will soon be February, and before you know it, it'll be summer, and then it'll be fall, and it'll be the holidays again. But that's just how time flies, especially as we get older. But thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That is very much appreciated. Have a very wonderful day and a very wonderful week. And I will see you all right back here on Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel and Elm Creek Farm for another episode, as we continue to do all of the due diligence that is needed to plant these fields again and earn a living here on Elm Creek. Thanks for watching. Take good care of yourself, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.